What's going on, guys? MerceYT13 here, and we are back with another episode of WWE Match of the Week and my Raw review. This week we were hot off the heels of Battleground, which was a pretty good show. We've got a couple of notes on the show. I thought the US title match between Owens and Cena was a great match, but had a really confusing finish with Kevin Owens actually tapping out to John Cena's, call it the STF. I don't think it's one of the weakest finishing moves I've ever seen, and Cena makes Owen tap out with it. He claimed in an interview afterwards that he was preserving his future, etc. I thought it was a ridiculous way to end the match. I don't mind Cena winning, I don't have a problem with Cena winning, but the way he won with the STF is a joke. I didn't like that at all. Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar was obviously overshadowed by the return of The Undertaker, which was cool to see, but, now bear with me, I just think rather than going back to the well with all these legends, it's a little bit short-sighted of the WWE. Yes, The Undertaker is a legend. Yes, The Undertaker is cool as shit. But I feel like these spots should be given to guys who are going to carry the torch for the next 10 years. It shows how much Vince doesn't trust the new guys. But Battleground as a whole was a really, really good show. There was some good solid wrestling on the show. I didn't like the non-finish, or there was no announcement that the title match had ended. So I don't know where that leaves Seth Rollins, because it looks as though after Raw tonight we're heading towards Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. Speaking of The Undertaker though, he opened the show this week in a very rare appearance on the show. It's cool to see him. He cut an excellent promo. Of course he did. He's The Undertaker. He's the friggin' man. The crowd was red hot for it, understandably. He gave some reasons for being back, mainly the fact that Heyman and Lesnar have been reminding everyone about the streak. He calls himself a vengeful Grim Reaper. It was awesome. I loved it. I thought it was strange that he didn't mention Kane at all, though. They always seem to gloss over the fact that they are brothers, storyline brothers. But it was cool to see the dead man back. It was a good solid promo. He's not really been known over the years for his mic work, but this was good. The anger, his presence, you could see in his eyes that he was angry. He's a legend of the business. I'll never ever get sick of watching The Undertaker, but as I said earlier, I just think this spot could be used more wisely. We cut back, Triple H and Stephanie are celebrating, the main event falling into their laps, Undertaker and Brock Lesnar. Triple H says he's going to tell Heyman and Lesnar to stay away, to keep Lesnar and Undertaker apart to preserve the main event. That's a pretty cool way of doing it, to try and build some tension, trying to keep them apart, trying to keep the main event alive. We then got our first match of the night, which was Charlotte versus Brie Bella. Charlotte made her entrance, and it was great to see that they've taken the glaring NXT logo away from her screen, and now it's her logo. I think it gives her more validity and announces that she's on the main roster. Charlotte's really good. She's using a lot of her dad's gimmicks and things like that, but she has sort of carved out her own little niche within that, so I really enjoyed it. Nikki tried to distract Charlotte, but to no avail. Charlotte got Brie in the figure 8 for the submission win. Not a lot to talk about. It wasn't great action-wise. Having Charlotte win, though, is a good idea. It needs to be the case with all the new girls. Being the underdog and overcoming the odds, it isn't always the way to build babyface stars. You shouldn't have to lose, then have a big win to get over. Sometimes being a dominant face is better for you. Next up, we had Primetime Players versus Los Matadores. This was a fun little match. It ended probably a little bit too quickly. I like the Matadores as a tag team. I think they're both great wrestlers, but their gimmick is a little bit too corny. I'd personally like to see them be repackaged as the Colon Brothers. Play on their family heritage, because their family is badass, man. They've got some real lineage in their family of some really great wrestlers. New Day came out during the match. We got a distraction finish. This is the finish you get when you have absolutely no time to come up with something better. Probably one of my pet hates about the WWE is the distraction finish. Next up, we got Miz versus Big Show. I don't know what it is about these two. It's just turn off television for me with Miz and Big Show, but Big Show threw Miz around for a while. Miz tried to come back. Big Show wins from an impressive second row elbow. I thought that was pretty cool. It looks like it would seriously suck to be on the end of. Big Show gets on the mic and calls out the injured Ryback. Says he's going to feed Ryback his fist. And it's a shame that Ryback is injured because I think he was really picking up some momentum. So let's hope he gets back soon. We then cut backstage. Stephanie and Triple H are talking to an artist when they suddenly spot Paul Heyman backstage. He says he needs to deliver Brock's retort and then he will leave straight away. And Triple H and Stephanie have a fair idea of what's going to happen. They know things are going to break down. We then cut backstage again. We see Triple H and Stephanie talking to the whole locker room, and they basically tell everyone that they need to do all they can to keep Undertaker and Brock Lesnar apart, which was a good idea because it brings everyone involved and it makes it seem like a big deal. Gets you excited for the segment. We then get Paul Heyman come out. He cuts a promo which he ranted about recent events and Lesnar's record against The Undertaker, and then he gets personal and he starts mentioning the streak. And as he does that, he's really just pointing at the camera. He's calling out The Undertaker basically, and then we get the gong, and the look on Paul Heyman's face was absolutely priceless. This guy is unbelievable. The dead man showed up, and I think actually having The Undertaker there, it's going to make this feud so much better. I don't know how many appearances he's going to make on Raw, whether he's going to be on every Raw or every other Raw. It just makes it feel much more important when he is actually there. And The Undertaker balled up his fist. He's about to attack Paul Heyman. Brock Lesnar's music erupts, and so does the crowd. We get the arrival of the Beast. They then proceed to have one of the best pull-apart brawls you will ever see. It's always a fantastic way to build a rivalry. The brawl continued backstage. It was awesome. Brock ended up being hauled away by the cops. I'd be really excited to see them go down the path similar to Triple H and Austin when they had that 2 out of 3 falls match at No Way Out, I think it was, and sign a contract where you can't touch each other just to preserve it. Either way, this feud feels major, but I think it will be ultimately a letdown when they fight because, let's face it, The Undertaker's, I think he's nearly 60 years old, and it's going to be a slow plodding match. But that being said, The Undertaker does look a lot better now than he did back when he had the streak broken. That all being said, build-up will be absolutely unreal. We then see Seth Rollins for the first time backstage. He says it's a shame that The Undertaker and Lesnar are gone because he may have lost his temper. So this guy's so slimy. He's actually hated, which is rare these days. He gets actual heat. I love Seth Rollins. I'm a huge fan of Seth Rollins. The next match we got was Roman Reigns versus Luke Harper. I thought it was a good move to put Harper back with Bray following Rowan's injury. This is a good spot for him for the time being. I think he's got more, but I think he's been a little bit typecast as a Wyatt and as a weirdo. So we got a Wyatt promo. He says, "We chose Reigns, we anointed him, and y'all are gonna burn for it." I think this is good. They need to turn him heel. I wouldn't actually mind seeing a double turn in this feud, seeing Roman go heel and Bray go babyface. If you could swing that, I think it would be cool. So Bray accompanied Harper to ringside, and Roman got a great reaction from the crowd actually. He wasn't alone either, because we then got Dean Ambrose's entrance. He came out to even the odds and he played cheerleader for the match. It was a really good solid physical match. Reigns really selling the arm. It was good to see them booking him as a tough guy who earns his victories or is gallant in defeat. I think it makes him a lot more endearing. The match eventually got thrown out. Reigns and Ambrose cleared the Wyatts out of the ring and stood tall. And officially adding Ambrose and Harper in, it gives them something to do, so I can't complain. It's good to see Ambrose at least out there for more than 30 seconds. We then get Seth Rollins in the ring, bragging about still being the WWE Champion. He got great heat. He really has done a fantastic job of being hated, but I think the real money in this guy will be when he turns face. With his moveset, I think he can be a huge babyface star down the track. He then gets interrupted by John Cena. Cena plays off the fact that he's a fighting champion. There's something about this that didn't really sit well with me. Cena constantly pointing out and demoting Seth Rollins was annoying, and it made the US title feel more important and a bigger deal than the world title, which should never, ever, ever be the case. Cena calls out Rollins, says he wants to fight. Rollins, after looking like he's going to accept, he backs away. Looks like we may get title versus title at SummerSlam, which would be an interesting match, but I hold grave fears for Rollins' title reigns if that's the case. We then get our second Divas match of the night. It's Paige and Becky Lynch took on Naomi and Sasha Banks. The Bellas on commentary as well. Great to see the Divas getting plenty of time. This was their second match of the night. There's no excuses now. It's sink or swim for these girls. They're giving them time. Hashtag give Divas a chance. Well, hashtag let's perform. And they really did. This was a really good match, so I think they got plenty of time. There was a great hot tag spot with Becky really trying desperately to get the tag to Paige. Sasha wins with the bank statement on Paige. Building new stars this way, as I said about Charlotte, this is the smartest thing that they've done. It gives them legitimacy. It helps them get over. Because with Sasha making one of the prominent divas, Paige, tap out, that gives her a huge win over a big star. Bella's on commentary for me, they were insufferable. I think at one stage there was a comparison of Nikki Bella to Ronda Rousey, which was complete rubbish, but I guess they're trying to play off some of the success she's got. We then got the main event, which seemed more like a house show main event. It was Orton, Cesaro, and Cena versus Sheamus, Rusev, and Owens. Why? Why did we have this match? It's such a strange choice for a match. Nothing really to report. It just seems strange after such a solid show to end with a six-man tag that didn't really advance any of the storylines and just gave us a catfight between Lana and Summer at ringside. As I said, I think it would have been better served in the spot of the Undertaker and Lesnar's pull-apart brawl and have that close the show. However, we got a cool slingshot into an RKO spot. It's still cool to see these guys wrestle. I mean, all of these guys can really go, but it just felt like a really flat finish having Cesaro, Orton and Cena all celebrating at the end of the match after beating up Rusev, who was by himself after Kevin Owens and co left. It just made no sense anyway. So hopefully they can keep building towards SummerSlam. They have to. They've had a few months really where the show's been really down. So if they can get to SummerSlam with a red hot feud between the Undertaker and Brock Lesnar, if we maybe get Seth Rollins versus John Cena, title versus title, that could be a cool idea. But I don't know what happens when you eventually merge the titles or what's going to happen there. It seems a little bit strange. I'd rather see Seth Rollins in a program with someone else other than John Cena. I don't think John Cena should always be the go-to. I know he's popular. I know he means ratings, but I'd rather see Seth Rollins in a better feud against someone else. That being said, who do you really put him against? Maybe that's the question of the week. Maybe that's fallen in my lap like the main event of SummerSlam. Who is a better choice to take on Seth Rollins? Who do we put Seth Rollins in a match with at SummerSlam? That's the question of the week. Anyway, guys, that's my Raw review this week. I hope you've enjoyed it. Make sure you leave a like if you liked the video, comment below and have some input in the question of the week. And most importantly, if you haven't already, smash the subscribe button for more reviews and all my other content. I do some UFC videos if you guys haven't checked that out. I do Rise of the Whole 10, which is a FIFA 15 Aston Villa career mode. But as always, for MerpsYT13, thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.